Welcome back, everyone. It is January 8th of 2020, and as Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is nearing $1 billion at the box office, a lot of fans around the world are very excited about the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney, Lucasfilm, and exactly what they plan to do to take fans into a different direction for this massive franchise that started back in '77. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about, of course, Episode 9 is that we do know that this movie in particular was a movie that was used to create a foundation of new Star Wars lore that would really introduce fans to new aspects of the Jedi and the Sith, you name it. Now, on top of all of this, we do know that Disney and Lucasfilm are planning something huge for the future for this decade of the 2020s. Now, I will add that the sequel trilogy had a lot of problems, and I've actually gone over this. I hate The Last Jedi. I believe that The Force Awakens is a decent Star Wars movie, as well as The Rise of Skywalker. However, Rise of Skywalker has more flaws than The Force Awakens, in my point of view. That's just how I see things. But when we look at Disney and Lucasfilm's plan for the future, alright, this is where things begin to get a little risky and a little quite worrisome as to exactly how they're going to handle things moving forward when it comes to canon material, future projects, and how they're really going to approach all of this. However, there are good sides to this that I will be going over. Now, a part of this reset, or them restarting the Star Wars franchise in a very specific way, it's explained that Disney and Lucasfilm have a plan in place after The Rise of Skywalker exits theaters to do something quite massive to the Star Wars franchise. Now, it's said that both Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy have come up with a plan to reshape the Star Wars franchise into something different for the fans and have a plan in place to reset the franchise by developing a brand new Star Wars expanded universe that will be directly modeled after the Star Wars Legends era from the late 80s all the way to the early 2000s before Disney bought out Lucasfilm. Now, it's said that Disney restarting or resetting Star Wars has to do with them trying to gain the trust of the hardcore fans around the world for their new franchise, and that they will also be handling the films and the TV shows in a very different way by now letting Jon Favreau stepping in on creative decisions for the majority of Star Wars projects moving forward, and that part of this reset involves Kathleen Kennedy no longer being involved with the creative choices for future films or TV shows of the Star Wars universe. Now, it's said that part of this reset will involve both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni working closely together to approve creative points made by Lucasfilm, since they know the most about Star Wars Legends lore and have had quite the experience with bringing it into live-action form. Now, this reset of the franchise is said to be very involved, as it will also apply to the new Star Wars universe that is also under development that will propel fans into a library's worth of books, novels, video games, and more that expands the stories of exiting characters, where, of course, this reset is said to be in response to The Last Jedi backlash and the mistakes they made with The Rise of Skywalker's rushed production and reshoots. So, the thing about this that I think really excites me is the fact that Kathleen Kennedy is no longer going to be involved with the creative decisions on these projects or these novels in the books and everything related to the new EU. This new EU, by the way, is going to be a part of this massive reset by Disney and Lucasfilm to propel Star Wars into a different era or to a different version of itself. And the fact that they're going to be bringing back the old expanded universe and are going to be retelling those stories, story by story over the years, I think is massive. I really do believe so, because as long as they stay true to the lore, I think a lot of hardcore fans are going to appreciate what they have to offer. Again, say what you will about Disney and the sequel trilogy, but so far what they have been getting right pretty well are the comics. The comics have been amazing. I don't know if you guys have been reading them, everything related to Darth Vader and the rise of Kylo Ren. There's a lot of stuff coming out, but it really does expand on everything that should have been explored, in the sequel trilogy, everything related to the rise of Kylo Ren and stuff around those lines. Now, the thing about this, alright, the fact that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are going to have a say in the matter of specific creative decisions is big. It really is big. And it does match up with Disney CEO Bob Iger and what he said about Jon Favreau, of how he sees a lot of George Lucas in him. And honestly, guys, I do too. When I look at Jon Favreau, I do see George Lucas within him. I don't know how. I don't know why. but there's something about John that is just pure, that he's got that pure, genuine, I guess you could say, passion for Star Wars. Knows all of Legends, wants to do things for the fans, and just for the fans alone. Nothing related to corporate or to, Disney and Lucasfilm. He just wants to do his own thing with modeling Star Wars into a different era, and that's exactly what he gave us with The Mandalorian, exploring an era that we have never seen before in the franchise, and that is some years after the events of Return of the Jedi. So this reset, there's a lot of things that I'm very excited about. The only thing that I am quite worried over is how the old EU is coming back and Disney and Lucasfilm will be retelling those stories. I'm hoping that it's going to be as accurate as possible to how they were told in the 1990s and the early 2000s. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.